Are we
Yes.
live?
Yes.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of 12 frames per second, or 12 FPS. I am one of your hosts, Carmichael, also known as Mikey, also known as Mike, and this is my lovely
Hello.
co-host.
Hello. I am Winona, and I is a, and today I'll be playing a little mad lad.
Today, we'll be playing a hamster. But to ask that hamster's name and as to how they look, we'll get there when we get there. For now, though, let's go with our introduction. It's another lovely, partly cloudy day at EGAD HQ, and Mad Lad has come to a decision. He would like another pet. Now, keep in mind, he already has a few,
Yes.
and EGAD HQ, while it's a large and expansive building, definitely probably has some certain rules and regulations about the different kinds of pets allowed. Mostly for the sake of. Sassy, what are you sniffing at, sweetie? You good?
Oh.
That's the kitty, don't worry about it.
Aw, kitties are cute.
Anyway, Kitty is cute, but she was sniffing the air for some reason.
Ah.
Anyway, as I was saying, because it is largely a treehouse that is made of wood, there's likely some rule and regulation about what specific kind of pets are allowed, whether they're trained or not, and presumably, say, for example, if you were to get another dog, you would hope that it's potty trained so it doesn't stain the wood with, functions.
Yeah.
But after some discussion with some of the adults at the treehouse, Mad Lad has been given permission to go to a very specific pet store for another pet. He has been recommended Raggy's Ret Store. And yes, it is spelled exactly as it is said.
Nice.
It is a pet store that is some distance away from HQ, but isn't actually connected to any of the large namestay towns. It's just kind of settled alongside a lovely open field where you can actually, would you like me to describe how it looks? Presumably
Sure.
as you approach.
Yeah.
It's rather lovely open field, just outside the line of where the jungle meets the open sun. And as you look around, you can kind of see where the fencing around it is, and there is a large field behind it, presumably where dogs and cats are allowed to play in safe containment before they're brought back in. And you can actually see there are a couple of staff members that are standing back there supervising some younger and older dogs at play. There's a few different varieties. There's some real kind dogs, there's some Toonkind dogs. There's a dog that being very closely supervised and slow and very elderly in behavior, but is a very big sweetheart by the look of it.
Aw.
And as you approach the store, it has that 70s to 80s
Mhm.
feel. From the colors to the angles to the style, it is very much a Scooby-Doo-esque building. This is an 80s cartoon pet house. This is an 80s cartoon
Nice.
pet store.
Yes.
And right over top, plastered in that hippie text, is Raggy's Ret Store. It appears to show a picture of a duo, a rather stylized and simplified silhouette of two, which appears to be a humanoid male and a dog.
Huh. Neat.
It appears to be open.
Mad lad just goes straight on in.
Once your arrival, and as you head in, it is just as colorful and friendly on the inside as it is on the out. For the most part. You can clearly see the different shelves where food, toys, and various other affections for animals such as collars and leashes are hung and stored, and all the different appropriate cages set along the walls. There's a bird cage that's smack in the center with a number of birds that can accommodate each other. The ones that aren't friendly to one another are kept in solitary cages, but they're the appropriate cages for that bird. They're large enough to accommodate wingspan, or depending on, they have enough toys to satisfy the very easily excited birds. You can easily see mice, rats, hamsters, kittens, puppies, lizards, fish. For some reason, the hamsters are on tighter lockdown cages, and the list goes on. And over at the counter, you can actually see a rather broad chested but friendly looking fellow to be the pet store uniform, brightly colored green, brown, with a little bit of blue, and a white apron. And the name tag on the apron says Ned. He's a friendly looking blonde who honestly looks like he would be more at home on like a football team or maybe on the cover of some sort of fashion magazine than he would be behind a counter. And next to him is a rather old but still friendly looking Great Dane who definitely looks like he would be rejected from every single dog show due to the fact that he's all lumpy and wrinkly looking. He has all the spots, his ears are crooked. It is essentially Fred and Scooby. Yeah.
Nice.
And as you head in, Ned greets you. Oh, hey there, little man. Welcome to Raggy's Red Store. How can I help you?
Just looking around for right now. This is my first time here. What do you have?
Uh, well, we have a lot. We have various different rodents. We have mice, rats, hamsters. We also have feeding mice for the snakes, which are in their tanks on the left. And he points to the left, and you can see the various sun tanks where all the lizards are. There are also some snake tanks and one or two turtles. They appear to be very content in their places, and each of the tanks are appropriately decorated for the appropriate.
Mad Lad nods disapprovingly.
But I will say, are you getting a pet for a birthday celebration? Are your parents around to help?
No, I'm getting a pet for myself. I just haven't decided what yet.
Aw. Well, we all deserve to spoil ourselves at some point.
Y-
How do you have any previous experience with pets?
Yep, I
I
got a
should ask.
giant stag beetle back at the farm, and I got this little guy. As Mad Lad takes out, I'll show you a picture because
Oh my god,
because
police!
he because this
If
little
it's a dinner critter, I'm gonna cackle.
it's not a dinner critter at all. No, it is. Did I have it? Did I? Is it in this one or is it in the other one? Yeah, it's right here. Because it first looks like a snake, but on closer inspection, it looks to be like a plant. It's a sort of looks like a mix between a plant and a snake.
My god.
Its head looks to be like a flower, yellow flower, and its body's made out of like a vine sort of like material. You can definitely see there's like little like thorns that could be stuck up if it's like afraid or something. And for the people who don't know, this is a snapadil. Thank you, Do, for creating this cute little critter. Mad and
I
and
would
and
die.
that
I would
and
die
yeah,
for the snap.
and Mad Lad takes this out of his shirt because they snap rest on his shoulders like wrapped around like a scarf underneath his clothes for most of the day, and usually comes out until it doesn't really he doesn't really come out until he is brought out. So Mad Lad say like goes underneath his clothes and like pulls out Snap. This is Snap.
Ned, for a moment, looks startled, but only because he is not prepared for you to pull out a fully sized snake out of your little shirt. But after a moment of processing that this is a very friendly looking little floral creature, almost looks elemental in nature, he looks more relieved at that, and you can actually see the dog next to him is sat up and is displaying surprisingly humanoid traits as he clasps his paws together and goes, "Oh, oh, that's adorable. What is he? I don't think I've seen
Uh, I
him
don't know
before."
exactly what it's called. I don't. Say I found him and I started taking care of him. I don't know what his species name is, but I just call him Snap because he likes to snap his tail every once in a while. And Snap does snap his tail like a little whip, and there's like a tiny little crack.
This briefly startles this briefly startles the dog, who, after having that moment to adore that this is a cute steak, ducks behind the counter at the sound of the whip. You can see his little tail shaking. Ned just kind of bends down and pats the dog, and the dog just kind of peers out after the shock of the sound wears off. Well, he looks pretty healthy by the looks of it, so I imagine you've been taking very, very good care of him.
Yep.
What is it you're in the market for?
I don't know. Though, though I may pick up some like sun lamps or something since I see you had that for the snakes over there because Snap likes laying in the sun a lot. But sometimes it gets too rainy or something, so it may be a good idea to get him an extra sun lamp.
A looking critter like that, I would say that's probably best, and he's actually going to roll a nature check. So I'm going to politely give him a -1 to nature.
Yeah. Also, I was
Tragically.
right.
And a
The
little bit
local
intense, so that would
sorry.
be.
Sorry. I
No,
got
you continue.
I got a
You
text
continue. I
and
interrupted.
no,
I
you're fine. I was say, okay, it's not me.
interrupted you.
Technically, the Xfinity around this area, the internet is being wonky for everyone. So, okay, it's not just me or my router. All right, let's continue on.
Yeah. Now, I should ask before I start recommending lamps. What's your budget exactly? How much are you gonna spend here?
Uh, hmm.
I don't want to run you. I don't want to recommend anything too expensive for you if you can't afford it. So I'd like to get something that's within your price range.
Understandable. That's fair. But maybe we could save that for later. I'm not very sure what pet I want, so I don't want to also not have enough for the pet, you know?
Understandable. Now, I will say, for the most part, if there are any pets you would like to examine, most of the pets here are friendly enough to be touched, and if you ask me, I can unlock their cages and pick them up for you to for the moment. And he kind of looks confused at saying that, but just shakes his head. Not sure what that's about.
I say you glitch out for me. For you said the last thing you said was most of them are friendly, and then say I can unlock the cages if need be. Did you say something else?
And maybe you could hold them.
Okay,
But as he says that, he glances to the hamsters and says, "Well, except the hamsters, they're off limits for some reason. Not too sure."
Bad Lad immediately looks over at the hamsters. Why are they off limits?
He he kind of gives the dog a look, and the dog gives him a look, and kind of shrugs, and he kind of you could see him lift one hand up to rub his neck, and he goes, "Well, according to my according to the other coworkers, apparently one of the hamsters, because we don't exactly have cameras in this building. Our camera broke, and we haven't really been able to afford a new one, sadly. Apparently, one of the hamsters started a riot in the store and tried breaking the other pets out and getting out of the store for some reason. So the hamster cages were locked down once the animals were caught."
There's a giant smile on Mad Lad's face as he starts, without even asking more questions, going over to the hamsters.
And you could kind of hear the slight scramble effect, the Hanna-Barbera
Yes, yeah.
scrambling effect as he quickly scrambles out from behind the counter and just, hang on a minute, hang on. And he doesn't put a hand on your head, but just holds it in front of you like, wait a second. Hang on. I just said they're off limits.
But he also said there was a hamster that did say also there was a hamster that made a riot. Now that's my sort of pet.
He looks tossed up between conflicted and amused by this because you very clearly do look like a kid that will be known for causing trouble. It's the way you dress, it's the way you look, it's your vibe. You look like a troublemaker. And on the one hand, he appreciates that. On the other hand, he's glancing between the cages and you just kind of.
I mean, I will tell you
I
right
tell
now.
you,
I will tell you right now. You either let me in there peacefully, or I will find a way in there myself. The choice is yours.
there is a brief look of unamusement at that. And he just glances over to the dog, and the dog, whose name tag, if you actually glance over, says Doob. He,
Aw.
he just he kind of glances over to you, and I'm actually gonna roll me a perception check. No, not persuasion.
Persuasion? Yes. All
Roll me a
right.
persuasion check.
Let's see, what is your persuasion? I don't think I ever used that stat on you. Oh, it's a +2. Makes sense. His charisma is pretty good.
So let's see it.
All right, let me get in the roll zone. That's the wrong thing. I'm thinking of roll 20.
No, you were so valid. You were so valid. I am very used to roll 20s shenanigans.
Is
Oh my god.
That's a dirty 20.
The dog kind of glances from the hamster cages for a minute, and you can see there's a wide variety, which I'll describe in a moment.
Uh-huh.
And there are some that exchange looks with the dog, and he kind of sits for a moment. And then he glances up to Ned and nods. And Ned sighs, lets his shoulders a bit. All right. You can start looking at the hamsters. But again, I just want to warn, we don't know if we don't know which one started it, and we don't know if it's violent or not. All of them seem to be acting friendly, but again, I don't really have an eyewitness account. So just be mindful, all right? We really don't want an injury
I'm pretty sure none of those hamsters can injure
happening.
me.
Okay?
I wrestled a bear.
Ned looks to debate that for a minute and then just nods. Okay, yeah, I can believe that. Sure, all right. And he just he goes back to the counter for a moment, and he just sort of you can hear him shuffling through drawers, and eventually there's a decent amount of jangling. You think there are some other goodies hidden back there, but eventually he pulls up a keyring. It's a colorful kind. It almost looks like for plastic keys, like for a kid, but these are very much actual keys.
Nice.
All right, Doob, watch the counter, would you? Right away, Red. And he just kind of salutes before just going, and he actually stands up and sits behind the counter.
Mad Lad, there's sparkles and Mad Lads,
Ties
right?
himself a little apron and everything.
Yeah, Mad Lad, like, eyes are sparkling and is just smiling. Talking dog. He's never seen a talking dog before.
But Ned brings the keys over and goes, all right, let's go in and visit the hamsters.
Alrighty. And Mad Lad puts, like, puts Snap back into his shirt so that he doesn't accidentally scare the hamsters.
Yeah, because you do notice there are some hamsters that actually immediately saw Snap and immediately dove for cover.
Which is why Mad Lad knew is just like, technically, Snap cannot eat any meat. They are vegetarian. But the hamsters don't know that. So, put back in shirt.
The hamsters see he is snake-shaped, and snake-shaped means predator. Predator mean Ned.
Yeah, exactly.
But Ned lets you into the hamster section of the store, and on the one hand, you can see that the cages have just as much variety as the rest of the place. There are 4 different kinds of cages for different hamsters, and there are 4 different kinds of cages available as well. There are tanks, which rather than having bars, they have the sort of plastic glass walls with breathing holes and removable panels for like putting in water tanks.
Yeah.
And they have slides to get here and there. Then you have the actual cages, which are multi-level cages that have the bars, let a lot of air in, but you can actually kind of see which one goes to different hamsters because, as Ned starts to explain, each cage goes to a different kind of hamster, or at least each cage fits a different hamster best.
Yeah.
Dwarf hamsters like the tanks here because they can't really climb
Yeah.
and they don't really chew bars.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the Tyrian hamsters, like over here, and he gestures to the barred cages, they love to chew bars and climb. So this gives them more exercise. Then you can see the labyrinth cages, which have all, you know the kind, they have all the plastic tunnels in the rooms. And then there are these very natural wooden boxes. They have ramps and slopes, but it's made so that way the hamster can't get out. And you can see a glass panel that allows you to view the inside is full of hay and bedding. And you can actually see some of the hamsters using that to burrow. We labyrinths over here, which are fun stimulation for whatever kind of hamsters you have, but they're a little on the pricey side, kiddo, so I'm not sure you'd be able to afford those. Control as you get, and you can actually watch the hamsters burrow while they go about their day. It's just a lot of cleaning. So you have to know what you're in for.
Badland nods at this, and also me as a player is very happy about this because I owned hamsters when I was a kid, and so this makes me all very happy.
I did. I'm so glad I did my research because my sister used to have hamsters, and I've always loved hamsters, but I also don't trust myself with hamsters
That's fair.
because
All I had were dwarf hamsters, and I love them so
I'm
much.
full of cats.
That's fair.
Yeah,
But continue on.
and you can. While the cages, of course, are very nicely decorated, they have the various exercise wheels. They have toys. You can see chew rings, that kind of thing. The other thing you notice, as for all how brightly colored the cages are, they all have tougher locks on them now,
Mm-hmm.
which is a jarring contrast to the rest of the colors in that all the locking systems are jet silver and tends to lock the cages down wherever they open up. And you can see a wide variety of different hamsters. You can see a gray one with a white belly and slightly banded tabby like markings that's just kind of running in her wheel.
Mm-hmm.
You can see another one that's larger than most that looks more like a wild hamster than anything
Mm-hmm.
and is redder in fur but bears a white chin and actually appears to bear some bite mark scars along his body as he's just kind of chewing some food and watching as you pass. You can also see hamsters ranging from orange to blonde to anything, really.
Bad,
And of course, there's also a little blonde hamster that just watches as you go.
Bad Lad is looking at all these hamsters closely in detail because he's looking for the troublemaker. He's looking, okay, this hamster has to be smart. If it's able to open it, at least very basic cages at least at the front end before all these bigger locks were put in. And he's not even
Roll me.
and he's
Oh,
and he's not like even judging by the hamster's size or like experience. Like he's like, I know any of you could have done this.
you can judge a criminal just based on nature.
Yes.
Okay, so roll me a perception check.
All right.
And tell me if you're looking at the dwarf hamsters, the typically sized hamsters, the Tyrian hamsters, or the larger, more wild looking hamsters.
Honestly, he's looking at all of them. It's like he's not judging.
Which one first? Which one first, essentially?
He's gonna go with the regular size hamsters first. Or at least
All right.
which one is the closest to the door he just walked in?
That would be the regular size, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because he would do this methodically. It's like, okay, from door to back, door to back, door to back, back to door, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's rolling well tonight. That's a 15.
Okay. As you're looking through, you can see a decent number that would actually be likely suspects. Mostly based on behaviors and also some bodily features that you can tell means they probably got into a few tussles.
Mhm.
One of the hamsters is light brown and dark brown in fur and appears to bear a number of claw scars along the back, has
Mhm.
slightly longer fur than usual,
Mhm.
and bears these bright red eyes that are full of mischief. And
Mhm.
she's just playing with one of the toys and just watches you with interest. That's one of the suspects.
Mhm.
Another suspect is one of the. He's actually close enough to the medium hamster section that you can actually see him looking at you, but it's one of the larger wild looking hamsters. And
Mhm.
this is a hefty looking boy. He's one of the big boys. He's actually a proper wild hamster with the deep red fur and
Mhm.
these just brown eyes. One of them appears to be missing, in fact, and
Hmm.
appears to have been taken out. You would need a medicine check to figure out how, but he bears some nicks and cuts here and there and is just watching you. Then there's one of the medium size, which is the uh, blonde looking hamster.
Mhm.
This one has The fur is incredibly fair, but a keen eye, passing a 15, would note that there are actually two different tones of blonde here. There's the fairest blonde, which nearly looks white, and then there's just the and these bright green eyes with these hefty lashes, just watching you with interest and kind of following you as you move along. And there are also bite mark scars along this one as well, and a couple of cuts along the wrists and ankles. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just watching you. And one of its little ears, which is nicked, flicks.
I'm
I also
curious.
want to preface every single hamster, by the way, is in the Hamtaro style.
Yeah,
Every single
that's adorable. I love it.
one.
I'm curious. Is Ned staying in the room with Matt Lad as he's going looking at all the hamsters?
Is Ned is not leaving your side. He is refusing to leave your side. You made the slight mistake of immediately threatening him that you would come in anyway, so he does not want you causing any breakouts and compromising his buddy's pet store.
Hmm. This is
Any
fair.
of them look nice?
Oh, all of them look pretty cool. I haven't looked at all of them yet, though. As he goes over
All
to the
right.
next, as he goes over to the next one's over.
And the next ones over are the larger hamsters. Compared to the typically sized hamsters and the dwarf hamsters, these look more like wild caught hamsters. They're
Mm.
larger in size, they're paunchier in nature, they're just heftier and rounder looking overall.
Mhm.
And even though they still have the big eyes that watch you or go about their days, you're just it, it's still more of similar anatomy. A hamster's a hamster,
Mhm.
but the big eyes can still spell trouble, so that'll be another perception check.
Oh, he. Oh yeah, he will. That's a 23.
Jesus Christ.
This guy's perception. He was a pirate before he came to Inkwell. He knows criminals.
Frithleigh would like to know your location. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's one of my characters. That's one of my characters.
Yeah.
But a few of them stand out. But the issue with looking through these larger hamsters is they're all wild caught, and all of the wild ones, as friendly or fat as some of them look, all of them look like they could cause some kind of trouble, and they kind of look a little more skittish of you as you approach the glass.
Mm.
Save for two. One of
Mhm.
them is completely black and white in nature. The patterning is interesting to say the least.
Mhm.
And this one actually appears to be missing one of its little limbs. And it appears to have had it replaced with a very, very small prosthetic, which is in the same bright plastic colors as the rest of the building.
Fair
So it's
enough.
very clear that this animal was rescued with the missing limb, and the pet store made it one.
Yeah, Mad Lad smiles at that. He's like, "Yes, this is a
And
good pet store overall."
this one's yeah. There is nothing suspicious about this one. It's very clear from the behavior of the staff to how the pets are being contained that it's taking care of the pets.
Mhm.
Though you do note, with a 23 perception, before I continue in the hamster imagery showing this human-looking toon male with the dog that is behind the counter, you haven't seen that guy. Ned is not that guy. Ned is bulkier looking. He's built like Fred. The guy that's next to the dog in all of the pictures looks like a gangly hippie looking dude with baggy pants and a
Mhm.
t-shirt and an apron and a tray full of snacks, which are labeled on one of the boxes you note as you passed by the shelf earlier
Mhm.
as right name okay as doubloons, which is a pun
Aww.
on doubloons and also doobie.
Mad Lad appreciates the pun.
But you do note that that guy hasn't been seen here. It's just Ned and the dog, and if there are any other staff, you note that they are still outside. And from the hamsters area, you can actually see one of the other large hamsters
Mhm.
isn't fully focused on you yet, but is watching that outdoor area because the hamster area is directly across from the big broad windows where
Mhm.
the kittens and puppies are sitting.
Uh huh.
And those big broad windows open way to that whole backyard where all the animals are playing. And this hamster, this big one, is orange and white in fur, with some smatterings of secondary color you don't see immediately, and eyes, and is just watching the yard. It has not even taken notice of you yet.
My lad looks at that hamster and sort of smiles a little bit. It's a beautiful day, isn't it, outside? As he gets closer to that hamster.
That hamster's ears perk. And you actually note with that 23 that the ears were indeed following your conversation and your steps as you moved. And it kind of takes a moment for the hamster to glance over and note that you were talking to it. And it kind of tilts its head. It rubs its face a little, just curiously, and sort of steps up to the glass, looking... Insight check. Actually, give me an insight check on that. This is an animal you are judging.
Alright.
After
Can
all.
I argue animal handling?
Argument adjourned, you are able to use animal handling. That would make more sense.
Alright.
I was just saying insight because, trying to read the hamster's actual thought process or
Yeah, understandable.
expression.
Yeah.
But animal handling works. Let's see it.
Because this is... Alright.
If it's a nat 20. If it's a nat 20.
Almost! It's a 19!
Almost. That would have been a dirty 20. This hamster's curious about you, and by the end, it's actually listening to what you say. But, of course, it's a hamster. It says nothing back, and it's just kind of watching you, curiously. And this is one of the paunchy-looking wild hamsters, too. This is a hefty-looking lad. Or lady? You can't tell, actually.
Fair enough. I say... My lad smiles at that. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's actually a pretty nice day outside. Though, though you probably want to be let out, don't you?
I have to actually pull up the character sheet on that because that is going to be deception since the store clerk is right behind you.
Mad Lad, let's see. Mad Lad would try to put himself between the hamster and the store clerk so he could see him, but he can't see the hamster. Because this kid is looking for intelligence. If any of these hamsters are intelligent, and they still haven't found it, they are purposely being hidden.
I'm gonna go with... Oh, he gets a -1 to deception. In spite of the specific hamster you're looking for being intelligent enough to try and start a riot, intelligent for a hamster does not mean intelligent for a humanoid.
Which is fair.
So that is a d20 -1. That is a 5. You actually see the ears perk up, and you can actually see even a little bit of the tail perks up at that too. Before he glances up to the clerk and very visibly immediately runs toward the wheel in the cage and starts pretending to run. It's doing a haunchy little power jog in there, but it's not doing a very good job pretending as it keeps glancing your way and toward the clerk. Let me roll perception for the clerk, actually.
That's a... No, wait, you forgot the exclamation mark.
Did I forget the exclamation?
No, wait. You didn't. Never mind. I assumed that, but
no,
then...
That's a dirty 20.
That's a nat 20. That's a nat 20.
And Ned actually glances over your shoulder at that, and he doesn't see the hamster very visibly having changed from listening to you to going to the wheel, but he kind of sees the power jog he's doing and goes, this guy always seems tuckered out. Poor thing. And he just kind of watches it. Meanwhile, you are the only one that notices the hamster is just giving little anime sweat drops as it's pretending to jog. Just you can practically read the please go away, please go away, please go away. I am innocent, go away.
Bad Lad gives a teeny wink, and he's like, yeah, you must be... He's a very active little guy, but I want to check out these dwarf ones over here, as he prances over to the dwarf hamsters.
And completely cluelessly just passes that hamster a glance and then follows you over. Meanwhile, with your earlier perception, you actually do know that as you're turning away and leaving the cage, that hamster quickly leaves the wheel and actually presses his little paws against the glass and just watches you looking forlorn.
Mad Lad will eventually get back to that hamster, but he wants to try to get Ned off his heels.
And roll me another perception check for the dwarf hamsters, which are all in the appropriate tank
Aw.
containers, as you've noted.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see some of them are rolling down the slides, one of them is running the wheel.
Yeah. 15.
You have, honestly, dwarf hamsters look like they could cause mischief, but they also look like they could cause mischief only if their brain cell is bouncing around in the right corner of the DVD screensaver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very much so.
Like, there's clearly a few that are goofing off. You actually note that there are two that appear to be playing tic-tac-toe on their little walls with each other from across. Like, their cages are next to each other, so they're just like drawing with their little thumbs, just like a tic-tac-toe board, and
Mm-hmm.
just making marks. Then there's one that's actually just this dusty gray in tone. That's just it's giving itself a lovely little bath. It's just like absolutely just grooming and scrubbing itself. It pauses, looking at you for a moment as you notice it was grooming somewhere very private before it goes right back to cleaning.
Fair
There's
enough.
another that looks a little slimmer than most, but is very energetic and is just kind of pacing around the cage before you peek over. It just kind of zooms to the glass and that kind of thing.
Aw.
So the
Mad-
dwarf hamsters are minding their business, but there are a few that just look at you excitedly.
yeah, Mad Lad smiles at them, gives a little wave.
You do note that only one of them actually waves back, and it's another one of the dwarf hamsters.
Aw. Mad Lad is like, aw. These are really tiny. They're so cute.
Would you like to hold one of them?
Yeah. What about that one that Mad Lad points to the one that was waving?
The one that was waving, you note, is more chestnut in color and is more of a solid color variant with just a few odd
Mm-hmm.
markings here and there that you can't identify completely. But
Mm-hmm.
it almost looks more indiscernible from a field mouse than it does a proper like dwarf hamster due to the
Aw.
shape.
Aw.
But he goes, "Sure thing.
Mm-hmm.
Give me just a minute." You do note that the locks for the different kinds of cages are different, but still follow that same jet black with silver inlay style. And he goes over to that. He goes over to that little hamster's kennel, and he just kind of he has to move the key a specific way for it to unlock. And he looks a little frustrated after a moment, and you can hear him grumble under his breath, "Don't know why they have to enlist this thing. God, stupid
How
maybe
distracted is
key
this
lock."
guy?
You know what? Let me roll my perception check and find out. Oh, that was a misclick on my part. I
Oh,
turned
you're fine. Oh, you're fine.
everything into squares on my
Mm-hmm.
screen. Not very. He knows these hamsters are trouble, so he is very much keeping an eye on the hamsters, on you, and on that cage. He is used to the babysitting. He just doesn't like the babysitting.
Understandable. Mad Lad notes this, and he doesn't try anything
Yet, presumably.
yet.
But
Keyword.
he does eventually. He pops open. It's the top he pops open,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually makes a little clicking sound before that dwarf hamster just carefully starts navigating its way up to the second floor of its little cage.
Aw.
There are different sizes to these cages, to these tanks. There's 2 levels, there's 3 levels,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it just sort of scrambles up to the top. And this one looks like it's dying for affection because as soon as Ned reaches his hand down, it just goes up and just settles against his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know that little, you know that one sort of TikTok or Vine trend where the dog owners would hold their hands in like a loop shape, and the
Yes.
dog would just run up and put their
Yes.
snout in the loop. That's what Ned does with 2 of his fingers, and the dwarf
Oh.
hamster actually just sits his face
Oh my God.
in there.
Madeline's like, aww. This one's
Yeah, I
really
saw that
friendly.
trick. Yeah, most of them are. I feel bad that they have to be locked up so tight though. And he just kind of carefully cups this one, and he cups it appropriately as you would cup a dwarf hamster. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure not to make sure not to give it a route to escape, and make sure not to just smother the poor thing, and just sort of carefully brings it down. Hold out your hand.
Mad Lad holds out both his
Come
hands.
on. Oh, keep in mind, once you're done handling all the hamsters, you probably will need to wash your hands before you go, just to make sure. And
Yep.
you just kind of carefully set this little dust ball in your hands. And you know how dwarf hamsters feel. It is very much just small ball.
Small ball of fluff. Mad Lad is literally being the hold soft emoji.
Uh, yeah, I I'm feeling myself being like those distorted crying emojis that are just like the pleading faces with all the tears, but they've been content awareness scaled.
Yeah.
Mad Lad's too pure, I swear.
Yes. Mad Lad is.
And I say that knowing he was a pirate. Just
Yeah, this kid has. Yeah, this kid's a troublemaker, but he adores stuff like this. He adores soft.
this little fella, just with the tiny little ears, just kind of. He just sort of moseys around your hands a bit and looks up, and you can see the way it sits up and just sniffs kind of towards you for a minute after sniffing your hand, your
Mm-hmm.
fingers. And it kind of dusts its face off for a minute and then looks at you again, and it's staring at you for a moment before Ned goes, I think it wants a pet. It's giving you the pet look.
Aww. And Mad Lad totally gives this little hamster pets.
Just a single finger goes down just to rub between the ears, and it just, you could see those little eyes just squeeze shut. It
Oh.
just soaks up
Oh.
the pets. Roll me a
Mm-hmm.
perception
Yes.
check.
I shall roll the perception. That's a nat 20.
You feel like you are still intently being watched. And you can tell specifically where from as well, as that hamster you left behind before has been watching you socialize with the other hamsters, and has no longer turned the attention toward the yard.
Oh yeah, Mad Lad knows the criminal. He's just trying to play along. He's trying to say he's just like, I will get to you eventually. I'm just making sure that this guy is not suspicious of you. Give me a minute to wholly ham it up. Pun intended.
I'm gonna roll this lovely little rioter a perception check, which thankfully he gets a +6 to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
On a 21, as you're sort of playing along, Ned is caught up in how cute this is because, just helping kids socialize with pets and seeing a clear love for them is really nice to him. He
Uh-huh.
does not notice this.
Uh-huh.
But as your eyes glance over, you note that the hamster just kind of scopes you out for a minute, and you can
Mm-hmm.
actually see those twinkly big Hamtaro eyes just kind of analyzing your behavior, looking
Mm-hmm.
at the other hamster from it, which is just soaking up your affection. It has actually rolled over for you to rub that finger along its tummy. It is very,
Oh yeah, Mad Lad is giving the
very
hamster
cute.
tummy rubs if he can.
There's a moment you actually see the other hamster almost looks jealous of the tummy rubs before it processes, oh, you're acting. Oh. And the hamster actually stops watching you for a moment and goes back to just kind of ambiently eating some of the multicolored food,
Mm-hmm.
the hamster food that is
Yeah.
sitting in his cage,
Mm-hmm.
and just goes back to acting like a normal hamster.
Mad Lad smiles at this as he recognizes the recognition. He's just like, yes.
You have spotted the
I have spotted the
criminal.
criminal. Mad Lad smiles at this little dwarf hand. She's like, I really like this one, but I also and Mad Lad say, how big is this cage? Can he put the hamster back in the cage?
You are not tall enough. The counter's a
They say, Mad Lad,
little high.
yeah, Mad Lad gives a gesturing move to hand the hamster back to Ned.
Ned happily does so. and you could hear slight scampering from the counter. And if you glance back, you note that the dog that was standing at the counter is now chasing his tail, and the scampering is his claws against the tile
Mhm.
floor. But Ned just, after giving another little rub, you could actually see this little dwarf hamster just is dying for more pets and just goes for the hand, tries to grab at it with the little paws, but Ned has to close the cage. He gives a very apologetic look. Sorry, little man. And it just kind of closes the lid. That hamster looks dejected. It looks so sad.
Mad Lad is going to try to be sneaky about this.
Oh my god. Are you trying something else? Oh?
It's nothing much for at least right
Ooh.
now. Mad Lad is a little bit
Ooh.
sneaky. He's like, don't worry, I'll be back for you later.
He hears, but he only glances over and goes, what was that, kiddo?
I was saying that I really like this little hamster. I love friendly little creatures, as you know, as you saw with Snap.
Deception check.
Yes.
Because he heard you, he just didn't hear you clearly.
Alright. He actually has a pretty good deception. I haven't used this in such a long time. Nope! Mad Lad is guilty of wanting that hamster.
Glances from you to a moment to the little dwarf hamster who is just dying for love and affection and is now just pawing at the glass, giving the begging eyes. This is a spoiled baby that wants pets and affection, and you're not giving it. Glances back. He glances back, and the dwarf hamster's eyes have actually gone even wobblier, and it's trying to pull a puppy dog face. It is trying to ham up the tears. He glances to you and glances back, and this hamster looks like it is close to fake crying. Fake crying, mind you.
Yes.
We'll get back to this hamster later. How's that, kiddo?
Sounds good.
And he nods. One thing to keep in mind with hamsters is you can't have them in the same cage. So if you get more than one, you gotta have different containments for them, because these little guys will actually just eat each other alive. You kind of pause this from it before long. We'll put it that way. And he just smiles very brightly, like he wasn't about to say, "Oh yeah, hamsters will just fucking eat each other given the chance."
Yeah. As someone who has raised hamsters, even had a litter of hamsters, I've seen that. Or at least once. It's just it was a little bit like didn't see it, but anyways, we're gonna continue on with his FPS.
This is a recognized animal fact. We are moving on, but just he takes you further down the aisle, and you can actually special cases. As you can see, these hamsters look a little more unusual. And if you would like to roll a perception check to see if you can try and recognize a possible candidate in this one, though you already have one in the big hamster section, you may.
Oh yeah, Mad Lad's gonna look. That's a 23.
This is nice. I do want to say above board, while there is the personality, and I am hamming up some of these hamsters, that is a pun,
Yes.
it is up to you which one you take home, because you are actually deciding which one is going to be the specific character based on visual appeal and personality. This is actually going to be your decision. You are adopting the hamster. You can see a couple of these look like they would cause trouble. One of them looks a little peculiar looking. It looks like a very dusty, dark furred hamster, but with these small, white eyes, kind of sitting in the corner, staring at you intently. There's another one that actually looks like its fur markings resemble more like actual, like little windy gusts and leaf shapes. Just hang on a moment.
No, you're fine.
Let me mute real fast. Sorry, that was my sister.
Oh no,
I
you're
forgot
fine.
to reopen the forgot to reopen the bathroom door because we have a sink that does not drain very well, and I didn't want the cats getting into it because it was boiling water in that sink, and I didn't want them getting, hurty.
Fully understand.
Examining each piece of food. Looks like a slightly picky eater as it's actually going for like specific seeds in the section and other shapes.
Mhm.
It more naturally shaped and chunky looking pellets than some of the smaller ones, and it kind of pauses as you pass by with these bright green and brown, just these bright mixed color eyes that are just watching you with just a little glimmer to them.
Mhm.
There's another one that looks like it has little fire markings to it that's just
Uh-huh.
kind of darting around the cage, which doesn't have anything to burrow into or any bedding of any kind. It has more gravel
Uh-huh.
instead. This
Mhm.
cage is a little unusual, but it's fine. And then
Mhm.
you get to another one. And this actually looks similar to one of the hamsters in the normal sized one, just slightly different.
Mhm.
This hamster is a similar style to the others and has the same sort of fair blonde fur, but it's thicker and longer than the other hamsters.
Mhm.
Gives it the effect of it's a long-haired hamster essentially,
Yeah.
with nicked ears, one of which looks almost completely torn off, bite
Mhm.
marks along its body, and what appears to be a small scar or
Mhm.
three running down its face. And this one is just watching you with these just earthy hazel tone eyes and just is staying very still.
Mhm. Lad looks at that one and is just like, wait, is that one okay? Is it meditating? He's just like, he's wondering why it's still.
Sits still for a moment before Ned comes over following you, and then it immediately ducks over to hide somewhere else. This one is very skittish and not the most friendly. These are the more unusual specimens we've caught. I know you have some other experience with pets, but I'm not sure you should really be over in this section. You can look though.
I mean, I literally have I'm looking after a farm that has giant stag beetles. These guys are nothing. And
One of them
I even get to ride them.
that does sound cool, but that hamster also breathes fire. So there's a difference between a giant bug and a hamster with a fire hazard.
I
And
mean,
as you know, that the hamster with the fire markings actually sneezes, you can see kind of scorches some of the glass.
okay, that's okay.
The
You may
scorch
be
marks disappears afterward.
okay. You may be right that these are very different, but I also had to say those are actually really, really cool.
Oh, they are cool. They're also unfortunately very expensive, and I think they'll be out of your price range.
Hmm.
They're like, they look very cool, but you need to keep in mind your wallet.
Understandable. Understandable. As are they close to the door now?
Oh, you are the farthest from the door.
Okay.
This is the farthest away from the door.
All right. Mad Lad is gonna take note of those hamsters and sees everyone, sees all the suspects. He still likes that orange and white one that was looking out the window. He's just like, yeah, you're the troublemaker, aren't you? But he doesn't he doesn't say that he doesn't say that out loud. Mad Lad just then strolls casually back to the other end of the room if there's nothing else.
Very careful, very cautious.
Mhm.
So, how do they all look to you?
They all look really nice. I do appreciate all of them. They're all say I there's many different characteristics of all of them that I personally enjoy. However, I say I do need to say I say if you let me, I want a moment alone with these hamsters.
Persuasion at disadvantage since he noticed you were talking under your breath earlier.
Mhm. And I'll roll this one at a time.
That would be a no. Like, he gives a bright smile just to chuckle for just pointing you and going, no.
Mad Lad smiles. I'm pretty sure it would be very advantageous for you and I if I have a word one-on-one with these hamsters. And he gives a little wink. He's trying to convey, I think I know who the culprit is. Let me alone with him, and I can maybe sniff him out.
He thinks this over for a moment. Persuasion, plain. No advantage or disadvantage. Just
All
a
right.
normal roll this time.
Come on.
But you can see one
19!
hand on his chin is just stroking thoughtfully. And you notice there's the start of a goatee, but he also looks like a guy who regularly shaves, so you doubt that's going to stay long.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, I'm the one with the keys and you're not, so I don't have to worry about any of the other hamsters getting out. If you would like to talk to one of them, go ahead. And he just kind of gestures for you to go and just... You do know that this is mostly a one-floor pet store. It's just wider than most, so he can still very much see where you are once he starts going back toward the counter.
Oh, yeah.
But it gives you some distance between him and the hamster aisle.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. And Mad Lad, all he needs is that distance. He needs to make sure that he can't really see what he's doing, but it still sort of like keeps an eye. It's just like, I just need a moment alone with this one hamster, and I think we're gonna be Gucci. As Ned leaves to the counter, Mad Lad strolls over very casually. Like, he goes over to stop by one cage, goes over to stop by another, and eventually makes it back to the orange and white hamster near the window.
The white hamster is watching you approach. He appears to be mulling over a small treat in his hands. That looks like he must have gotten it at an earlier point and he just hasn't eaten it yet, but he's just mulling it over in his paws before he notices you and stops.
Yeah, and Mad Lad again sort of like puts himself between Ned and the hamster. So and now with Ned at the counter, Ned this hamster can't be seen all by the counter. He's like, "Hey, he's gone." Let me guess. Are you the troublemaker?
Glances over for a moment just to absolutely make sure this time, because last time Ned was right over your shoulder. And then you see just a slight tricky look as it nods.
Mad Lad smirks. Yeah, I thought so. And he's speaking like quietly.
Yeah, just because it's a big room and he can see doesn't mean he can hear. So you're good on talking from this distance.
He knows, but he's still like doing somewhat of a hushed tone.
Yeah, it's the stage whisper. It's tune logic. Tell me, by the way, what languages do you speak?
He speaks Common, Draconic, Grolix, and Infernal.
You actually note that this hamster tries to make a gesture or something with its paws, and the mouth moves, but you don't understand a goddamn lick that comes out of that mouth. It pauses for a moment, notices this, then sighs, and it tries something else. But you don't understand that one either, and it almost a very eloquent yet tiny little word attempt, which fails, and then you also realize, oh, the hamster's trying to talk, that's it.
Yeah, Mad Lad.
And as you realize that, continue.
Yeah, Mad Lad's eyes widen as he sees that.
And then it gets to Grolix, which is just Toon charades, and mixing that with Hamtaro Ham chat.
Yeah.
You finally get a sentence of, "Please tell me you can understand this. I am about to lose my mind."
Mad Lad grins. He's like, "Oh yes, Grolix, I can speak."
Like nature of the stars, finally somebody I could communicate with. And the hamster looks visibly relieved as it just starts profusely and very quickly gesticulating at Grolix. Just, "Hi, listen, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not a pet. I am very much not a pet. I don't belong to anybody from my family, and instead I'm trapped here in this little cage with all these treats and all this hay, and I'm about to lose it. Please tell me I don't have to stay in here.
Mad Lad nods appreciatively. Yeah, don't worry, I'll get you out here. Though I'm very surprised that you haven't tried Growlix because most Toons know that.
He kind of gets a look, and he sort of continues with, most people either pass me by or I don't think they understand this kind. This Grolix is different than the ones I've seen you big folks use.
Mad Lad smiles.
It's complicated.
Mad Lad smiles. Okay, fair enough. I'll just chalk this one up to the plot and say we'll be done with it. Is there any other hamsters in here that are like you? Do you know any other hamsters that are like you for sure?
Gives you a confused look at mentioning the plot, and then just kind of shakes it off and glances over the other cages. Most of the other hamsters have their own perspectives, but none of them are like me, I don't think. I mean, we're all ham-hams, that much is true, but they are not a ham-ham like I am a ham. He pauses a moment. You've never heard of ham-hams?
No, I have not. Please enlighten me.
But you were looking at ham-hams.
Oh,
Ham-hams are what we
hamster.
call ourselves.
Oh, you call yourselves ham-hams. I did not know that. Lesson learned. All right. We just call you guys hamsters.
Yeah, that's most of what I hear, so I've been getting used to it, but I very much know it says ham-ham. And you can actually hear that word almost perfectly with the way the mouth moves, just ham. And it's a very tiny voice before he continues.
Mad Lad nods. Okay. I did not know that about hamsters. They say that's really cool that you say you actually have something to call each other. That's cool. But yeah, I was just want to make sure because if there's any others like you, I want to get you out too.
Wish some of them were like me, and you could see his ears. He droops like a sack of potatoes as he starts gesturing this and looking to the others, but there's a difference between these ham-hams and my ham-hams, and none of these ham-hams are mine. They don't really speak the same way. They aren't from the same home.
Are you sure? Because that... Okay. Are you sure? Because that little dwarf one over there is pretty dang friendly.
Oh! Dustball. That one is... She's very sociable. From what she tells me, she used to be someone else's pet, but something happened, and she got lost.
Aw, that's sad. A little bit of me. I can understand that.
Feeling I understand what must have happened from what she tried to describe, but I don't have very good words for it. At least in Grolix, I don't.
It's okay. I was just curious because she seemed really nice. If like say, but if you're the only one, I'll definitely get you out. Don't worry about that.
If you're going to get me out, you'll probably want to. And he kind of looks like he's. You actually watch him kind of rub his paws for a minute as he's looking for the right gesture.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to embellish it some.
Mm.
Do you have any other ham?
Sorry, say that hams? One word. Say that one sentence again.
Do you have any other ham-hams?
I don't have any other ham-hams, no. But I do have but I do have a giant treehouse.
You could see those heterochromic eyes just twinkle. A treehouse?
Yes, a giant treehouse full of adventurers.
Like at home, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm not very sure what that means, but it's a place for adventurers to go out and explore and everything. If we can if it's one, and if you're looking for your family, if you're this is the place to probably start. There's plenty of adventurers that go all over the place. So it's like if they meet another one of your kind, they can easily get back to you about it.
He looks up, hopeful for a moment, but then you see the ears fall again, and he just kind of glances toward the clerk. And the clerk is still watching you, but he doesn't see.
Mm-hmm.
He's very briefly distracted by the dog, as the
Uh-huh.
dog, poor Doob, just accidentally runs himself face first into the wall, and Ned
Mm-hmm.
hurries over. Doob, you alright, man? Rupert Rail. Yeah, I know. You have a difficult time catching your tail. I'm sorry, man.
Mm. Okay. I
But
I understand.
the ham ham in front of the ham in front of you just kind of sags, and while you say you understand, he just sort of. I haven't found much help from the big folk. Most don't seem to understand me, and this Grolix is very rough. Are you sure they could help?
Mad Lad nods enthusiastically. I am really sure that they can help.
Roll me persuasion
Mm-hmm.
with advantage.
Alright. Let's see. Persuasion is... I'll roll these one at a time. Alright, that's a good start. Let's see if I can get the nat. Nope, but that's a dirty 21.
Visibly thinks it over from a moment, and you
Mm-hmm.
can actually see one of his very, very tiny hamster fingers is actually missing.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Very well. I've put my faith in adventurous folk before, and I've been told that you can be significantly helpful when it comes to seeking and finding. I agree to your terms.
Mad Lad nods.
But the clerk may be difficult to convince. You may want to buy some other things to just pass it over. No, wrong sides, wrong. Ah. And he kind of shakes his paws a bit, tugs his ears. Wrong one. Um, pa- pa- pass it on? No,
I,
pass it
I say,
off?
you know, I have an idea, and we'll see if it works. I'm making a little gamble right now, but trust me, no matter what, you're getting out of here. And he goes back
Moment
over.
where he stares at you and nods.
He goes back over to the counter, and
Hey, kiddo.
he is grinning like a Cheshire
Oh,
cat. He and Ned knows. He knows.
Ed knows, and he just smiles and goes, "So, how'd your conversation go with the hamsters?"
Really well. I know which one it is.
Do you?
Uh-huh. I do. And I'm willing to take them off your hands for you.
His mouth, and then he goes, "Okay, so you're still gonna have to pay for that hamster. You gotta keep that in mind. But
I'll tell
if you
you
found the
what.
one in question, I can.
Tell you
Oh,
what. I'm not very. How much are? But anyways. Wait. How much is a hamster?
depends on the size. The dwarf hamsters are 15 silver. The Tyrian hamsters are 20 silver. The wild hamsters are 25 silver. And the unusual ones are 5 gold a pop.
Really? The unusual ones are only 5 gold a pop. Okay, that's weird. But that's not the point right now. Okay. You said the regular size hamsters are 20 gold?
20 silver. I said silver.
Okay.
Silver, not gold, not gold.
Sorry. Wow. Those hamsters are a lot less lot more a lot less expensive than I thought they were. How about
He gives a look. He gives a look of confusion at you saying they're less expensive because keep in mind this is a clerk who thinks 5 gold is expensive.
not to this pirate, but Mad Lad is a Mad Lad size. All right. So basically, what if I know who the culprit is, but I also really want this ball. that little dusty, that little one that looks a little brown and the dwarf hamster. How about I take the culprit and that one off your hand, and that one also. Say, I'll take the culprit off your hands for free, and I'll pay for at least one hamster, and that'll be Dustball. I named them Dustball already.
He thinks that over. That'll be a persuasion check to try and haggle this, because again, this is someone might notice that one hamster is missing and not paid for, but we'll see if you
Mad
can
Lad is
successfully
gonna try to haggle
this arrangement. Let's see.
I mean,
let's see it.
Persuasion.
It is persuasion.
Mm-hmm. That's an 11.
Jeez, I would love to give that one to you for free, but somebody wouldn't notice. And if they notice that one of the hamsters is missing without it.
Sorry, you cut out.
Someone. He essentially says, yeah, someone's going to. Listen, I would love to give you that hamster for free, but if somebody doesn't pay for it and someone notices that 2 hamsters are gone and only 1 was paid for, they're gonna know something's up and take it out of my paycheck.
That's fair. And even though Mad Lad likes small businesses, this is a good pet store. They do good jobs. So if I get 2 hamsters, would that be what I say 2 for 1 gold? You say?
2 for 1 gold would be fitting. And as he says this, you actually see Doob kind of come up. And for this, hang on. Let me take a sip of tea. Oh boy, I really had to go with the Scooby-Doo bit, huh?
Yeah, you sort of put yourself in that hole.
Okay, let me do a practice laugh first.
Ooh, that's good.
Okay, I think we're good here. You can always try Ryan Grace. Right? Treats would be a lot. Fred kind of has to glance for a minute and listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell that the dog's jowls make it a bit difficult to understand, but he goes, well, if you want to try and cover it up, Doob here says you could maybe get some cages for them, maybe some food and treats. That would bring.
Mad Lad.
Then they wouldn't notice the other hamster missing at all.
Mad Lad gives an affirmative nod. That sounds like a plan. How much?
Okay, so that'll be. I assume you want to get the. I would recommend getting a tank for the one you call Dustball, seeing as that's a dwarf hamster and they prefer those.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of writing these down on a piece of paper rather than going with anything electronic. This is a very old-fashioned pet store. There is nothing technological in here about checkout anything.
Yeah, Mad Lad appreciates that. He's used to old-fashioned stuff.
And if you're gonna get so you're gonna get 2 containers, and that one is a pretty sizable lad, but that still is typical hamster size, so that would be. I would recommend he thinks this over for a minute. I would recommend, under most circumstances, a cage or a burrow box. But you could also get a labyrinth, and I'm certain that hamster would appreciate some stimulation. That's a thought. The only issue is that's a bit more expensive. Those also run 10 gold apiece.
10 gold apiece? Mad Lad looks at his wallet. Actually, that's fine.
Really?
I have 70 gold on me right now.
You could actually see the exclamation point appear above his head. Oh! That's a lot! Where'd a kid like you get 70 gold?
I'm an adventurer. Gold. I get gold.
Oh. You're... how old are you to be adventuring exactly? You actually see Doob kind of paw at his leg for a moment. He's, oh, right, business. Okay, it is your choice what you get. There's different sizes for the different tanks and different cage options, but you'll have to decide how many floors you want. Then we'll have to pack you some food. We also
Uh,
supply a free water tank to go with.
let's see. I sort of say, let's get, I say, Mala is like looking at the regular hamster, looking at Dustball, and she's like, if they're gonna possibly be roommates, he wants to make sure that they both have enough room. What to say? Maybe say you said the labyrinth with maybe 2 floors. I could. Would I be able to maybe get a bigger one later for like a third floor?
Would be able to get one for a third floor later, yeah.
Okay, we'll start with 2 for right now.
Okay. So that'll be one labyrinth tank, 2 floors, and I assume you want to get one of the normal tanks for Dustball.
Say yes.
Alright, will that be 2 or 3 floors? I mean.
2.
Alright, 2 floor and 2 floor. That should be good. If you want, you can peruse the hamster toy aisle and see if you want to grab anything.
Say, say, Madla gives a little nod and say does go over to look at some of the toys.
Through those, you do note that Ned actually does leave the counter so that he can actually start preparing the hamsters for their departure.
Yeah.
Like he actually grabs the cage that has your in it and he brings them to the counter.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's passing by, he says, "While you're at it, you can choose which color of cages you want. They come in a lot of different designs." And then passes right by to the counter.
Uh-huh. Mad does look at the toys, look at that, and sort of wanders over back to the orange and white hamsters. Like, do you what color cage do you prefer? He says in Grolix.
The lovely little ham compared to the Dustball. The Dustball just kind of is. The Dustball does not understand Grolix. The Dustball is a very ordinary hamster. It only speaks beast.
Uh-huh.
And it's not very bright. It is just full of affection. But your ham culprit just kind of shrugs. Kind of shrugs. Never saw myself confined to a cage.
This is more just for a little room. This is just more for like a little room for yourself at the treehouse. I say so. I'm getting you basically a little apartment.
You can choose. And yeah, he looks fine with whatever. He just kind of, and as Ned passes by, you can see him just wave his little paws like, whatever works.
All right. Does Dustball have a favorite color?
Dustball is not reacting to anything. Dustball is just watching everything move around.
Now that it's just like, just wanted to make sure. How about a blue? How about a blue cage and a green cage?
Okay, so blue for both. That'll be a blue tank and a blue labyrinth. I can do that. And he sets the hamsters in their normal cages on the counter. Then he goes back over and guides you over with just a gentle hand to the back of just to your upper back where your neck meets your shoulders, and goes, if you want, you can point out which ones you specifically want.
Yeah.
The labyrinths have different configurations, but the two level tanks are fine.
Yeah. I want that. I want this one. And Madlat points to the little culprit. And then he goes over to the dwarf.
No, the culprits are already. The culprit and Dustball are already on the counter. You were just pointing out cages you.
Okay.
Want.
I say Madlab points to a bluish cage. He's not really particular about them right now, so it's just like, if he wants something different, I'll get it later.
So he's going to pick those up and he's going to bring them over to the counter.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go ahead and toys, I would say, depending for nice ones. The cheap ones are only copper, but the nice ones are silver pieces, similar to the hamsters. And give me a moment, the cat wants out.
You're fine. Let's see.
All right.
All right, Mad Lad's
I'm
gonna
back.
get this
The
nice
kitty is
silver
out
one. Mad Lad is gonna get the nice silver
of
toys.
the room now.
He's gonna get the ones for silver.
Okay, so all right, so getting some nice pricey toys. Good, good. Do you want to get any little clothing accessories? Because there are some little costume pieces.
No,
Or are
thank you. I think that'll be it, please.
good? All right. And he just goes over, and you notice he's actually snuck a little hamster treat bag into your set, and he hasn't said anything about it.
Mad Lad's not gonna say anything back.
But he just, you can hear some rings, you can hear him writing some stuff
So how much
down.
in total?
Alright, so you're getting 2-story tank and a 2-story labyrinth, and that is 2 stories are 10 gold apiece, so that's 20 gold for the tanks. That's 20 gold for the cages. 1 tank, 1 labyrinth. Put some down for. And you know, since you put down the toys and just kind of counts those in, that'd be about 20 gold and 45 silver.
Mad Lad gives him 21 gold. Keep the change.
Alright, that'll work. And he just kind of puts it into the cash register, which makes the satisfying ring sound as it's calculated before just being shut with a ring.
Oh, yeah, sounds good. 1 second, please. Say,
Oh.
1 second, got a call.
Okay.
Sorry, I was in the restroom. You here? Alright. What? We'll go get dinner. Well, we'll go, how about after we go see your brother, we go get dinner? We can go out and get dinner. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we'll go get dinner. Yeah, but we'll not worry about that for right now. You all see the plans and we'll go get dinner.
This poor little hamster has so many negative modifiers to so many skills. It's actually impressive.
I'll see you soon. Just text me when you're here.
The minus 1 to charisma and intelligence. Oh, this poor
Hello.
guy. Oh, this poor fella.
Oh no, what happened?
Oh, the poor thing.
I'm back. Oh, sorry. I thought I unmuted myself. Hello, I'm back.
Welcome back. You did not indeed mute yourself. Well, unmute yourself, I mean.
I did now. Okay. Yeah, Mad Lad hands over the gold.
Alright, and that'll, of course, you'll be subtracting 21 gold from your
Yep.
total, but that's fine. I assume you are in charge of your number keeping?
Yep, I am.
Because I ain't keeping track of that money for you.
Oh no,
I
keep track of all my gold. Don't worry. But yeah, Mad Lad is smiling as he takes all the stuff.
Alright, so let me help you set these up. And do you have a way to transport these guys? Because he kind of glances out because I assume you're not old enough to drive.
I walk. Don't worry, the EGAD treehouse isn't too far away from here.
Let me actually roll him an intelligence check when you mention EGAD. Oh, you're with. That would explain so much. Okay, yeah, that's all right. That's fair. Give me just a minute. And he kind of, you watch as he actually helps, and it'll be your job to fill out the cages later and actually get these two hamsters in their respective enclosures.
Yeah, which is fair.
But eventually, he gets it all set. He kind of gets it stacked and situated, and
Mm-hmm.
then pauses and glances you over for a moment as if trying to gauge whether you'll actually be strong enough to carry all this stuff on your own.
Mad Lad is just smiling.
Are you sure you don't need help getting it back to HQ?
I have hammer space.
Are you going to store the living hammers in your hammer space?
No, just the cages.
I, I, I thought for a second you were gonna put the live hamsters in your hammer space and they were gonna
No,
start
I'm not an idiot.
suffocating.
No.
No, I wasn't assuming you were. Just I have to happen. I just thought I'd make sure. Oh, okay, that is fine then. And he's gonna hand you the empty cages first, so you can indeed put them in your hammer space.
Oh, 1 second, sorry. Yeah. Say, what's up? All right. McDonald's sounds good, at least for me. I say, just give me a cheeseburger and fries. All right, sounds good. I'll see you soon. I love you. Yeah, I say, yeah. I at least want to say what I want. All right, love you. Sorry, fiance was wondering what I wanted for food.
Understandable.
All right, but yeah, Mad Lad puts the cages in his hammer space and walks out with the 2 hamsters.
Get up. It. I don't think my mic caught me for a second, but
No.
yeah. Ned actually waves and goes, "Have a nice one, kiddo." And the dog actually waves as well.
You have a nice day too. Bye.
And out you go with 2 hamsters in tow. The dust ball is just ambiently looking around, just taking in every side of your own business. And your little troublemaker is just sitting there, laying very casually in the exercise wheel. Just to, they have little transport cages. There's just a little exercise wheel for Stim, and he's just laying in it like it's a hammock.
Yeah, and Mad Lad gets far enough away from the from the pet store to say before he starts talking and growling. So yeah, he's like, "Well, we're home. You're home free."
Been so long since I've been outside of one of those pens. It's nice to see the sun on my fur again, even if it's through some cheap plastic. And you actually hear a little tick as he appears to toss a piece of food at the little lid to his little transport enclosure.
Yeah. By the way, do you have a say? Do you have a name?
I do. Thank you for asking, my fine friend. And he sits up and just goes, "I am So.
Saw?
So. Yes, I am So."
Salt?
And he So. No.
Wait,
He tries to
soul.
write it out. No, there is no L. There is no O sound.
So.
He nods. And if you would roll me an intelligence check, as he actually tries to use some of the bedding and a small twig to try and etch it into the plastic a bit.
You said perception. You said
Intelligence.
intelligence. Okay. As it's well.
It looks vaguely like a language.
Uh-huh.
You're not sure what language, but above board he wrote his name actually in it's in Druidic, but it looks like Japanese.
Ah, I see. Fair enough.
And let me actually grab it from Google Translate real quick. And he wrote it like, and I'm gonna put this in the roll zone.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote it like this.
Oh, I don't know what language that, but that looks cool. Nice to meet you, So. My name is Mad Lad.
Mad Lad, a ferocious title to be sure.
Yep, indeed. But
So, what is the plan once we get to this treehouse?
well, I'll set you up in my room, and then we can talk to all the adults about your situation, so everyone knows what's going on.
That would make some sense. I'm hoping you maybe have some druids in the area. I'm better able to communicate with them than I am with most of the big folk, but I understand that druids are a very reclusive folk, and they are difficult to come by.
Mad Lad, actually, you want to make an insight?
Sure, sure. Oh, let's see what's his insight. Oh, he okay. Positive modifier. He gets a +3. That's a 15.
Mad Lad, like, smiles, like, yeah, hopefully there'll be some druids that around EGAD that can help you. And he could tell that he actually, you could sort of glance by it, it's like he actually had an idea for a druid in mind, but unfortunately for some reason he didn't say it. And he also looks very sad about him not being able to say it.
My friend. Oh, the mic cut me out. Sorry.
Yeah.
He just kind of he glances you over for a moment and just goes, "Did I hit a sore spot, my friend?"
I mean, I had a friend that's a druid, but she's been gone for a while. I don't know where she went. That's sort of another reason why I joined EGAD, is so maybe I can find her again.
Most of the druids I know are nomadic souls, but from the way you speak of her, I imagine that's very unusual for her to
Yeah,
disappear.
like,
I'm sorry to hear that.
it's alright. I will find her. I say, and he does give a little bit brighter smile. Just gotta keep looking.
And I will help you look. You're missing kinfolk just as much as I am. And it would be terribly dishonorable of me not to return the favor for you freeing me from that. And he kind of glances back. Multicolored penthouse.
Hey, for like regular pets, they're very nice people. I mean, if they knew that you were sentient, I mean, and you knew how to speak, I'm pretty sure they would have let you out a long time ago.
He gets a doubtful look at that, but he doesn't say anything out loud. It's just a look of, sure. I'm sure they would have. But he just kind of settles back into that wheel and is just lounging
And
again.
yeah, Mad Lad then looks at Dustball. Hope you're gonna have fun being around me, though you'll have to get used to Snap.
The doesn't say anything, but just continues grooming itself. She's just she's just being very sweet to herself at the moment, but just so actually you hear him kind of squeak a bit, and you watch as Dustball perks up and squeaks very little back at him before going back to her grooming. She says as long as she's around people, she will be happy as can be, and she'll have plenty of fun.
Yeah, will be very happy then. There's so many people in EGAD. She'll get so much attention.
He squeaks that back to her, and yeah, you do actually see her beam up at that just a little bit. You could see the way the cheeks fluff up a little, and she just rubs your face. and she's just watching the road while you're left sitting there just tossing food pieces in his mouth,
Yeah,
tossing them at the lid of his little enclosure.
yeah, and that lad just smiles as he just continues on his way home, or at least back to EGAD, I should say, and I think that's a good place to leave it off.
I think so as well.
Thank you
Oh,
for
give me
say
just a moment to stretch.
say I very much enjoyed this. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, I enjoyed it as well, and I am very much glad somebody could just take home the lovely
Yes.
hamster. I
The
cannot imagine Mad Lad's face when he finds out that hamster can pull out a gigantic hammer out of nowhere.
Mad Lad is gonna once he finds that out, Mad Lad is gonna be starry eyed. But
It's
anyway,
all fun and games until it's all fun games till the hamster pulls out a hammer that's like 10 times its.
yeah. Wait until the hamster learns that this kid has a gun. Multiple
Oh
guns.
my god. Oh god.
Including a cannon that shoots explosives.
Dear god.
Yeah, this kid's fun. But anyways, thank you all for listening in, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.